Welcome to Spiritual Foundations for Life. This is day number 289. God warned Nebuchadnezzar in a dream, and Daniel encouraged him to repent according to Daniel chapter 4, verses 5 to 27. But 12 months later, Nebuchadnezzar was still as proud as ever, according to Daniel chapter 4, verses 28 to 30. It was not until finally he raised his eyes towards heaven, to God, that his sanity was restored to him in Daniel chapter 4, verse 34. Had Nebuchadnezzar been mentally ill? Well, today's mental health workers would probably conclude that he had been, because they believe that people are mentally healthy if they're in touch with reality and if they're relatively free from anxiety. But Nebuchadnezzar was not, so he must have been mentally ill. See, based on secular standards and definitions, anyone experiencing a spiritual battle for his or her mind would fail on both counts of being mentally healthy. What would secular mental health workers think if their clients told them that they were hearing voices or seeing things that frightened them, but the counselors couldn't see or hear anything? They would conclude that their clients were out of touch with reality. Actually, the mental health workers may be the ones who are out of touch with reality, because the ultimate reality is God, and what their clients are seeing and hearing could be very real, even though not seen or heard through the natural senses. See, in the natural realm, we can't physically hear anything unless there is a sound source that sends an audible signal through the medium of air to our eardrums. The eardrums pass the signals to our brains. In the same way, we can't physically see anything unless there's a light source, sending a light ray that reflects off the material object into our optic nerve, which then sends a signal to our brains. There is no physical source of light and sound in the spiritual realm. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12 says, "For our struggle is not against flesh and blood." The battle is in the mind. Therefore, a spiritual attack that is seen or heard by one person will probably not be seen or heard by another person in the same setting. The battle for the mind is tearing families apart. A child cries out at night, "Mommy, there's something in my room." Well, most parents will look under the bed and in the closet and say, "Honey, there's nothing there, go back to sleep." But if you saw something in your room, would you go back to sleep? Or a mother comes home from the hospital with her third child, and the kids are fighting and her electrolytes are depleted, and she suddenly has a thought: kill your kids. Who is she going to share that thought with? Her husband? "Honey, I've had thoughts about killing the kids." See, when people have such thoughts, they generally don't kill their kids, but on rare occasions they actually do. Those who don't are disgusted with themselves for even thinking such things. But you know what? Such battles for the mind are happening in every mind and in every church. Why don't we know more about the spiritual battle? Well, first, because we can't read each other's minds. So we have no idea what the other person is struggling with unless they have the courage to tell us. Second, because few people are willing to disclose what is going on inside their minds. If one person had the courage to share but others dismiss it, nobody else will ever share again. Third reason is because some people fear that they're losing their minds and they don't want other people to know they are. Fourth, because some are embarrassed with the thoughts that they're having, which may be vulgar or sensual or even just plain evil. There's all of this stuff causes chaos, but it's just a lie that Satan has prompted us to believe. Our key point today is that mental illness is a distorted concept of God and a distorted concept of who we are. Our key verse, 1 Peter chapter 4, verse 7, "The end of all things is near. Therefore be alert and be of sober mind so that you can pray." God bless you. See you tomorrow for another episode of Spiritual Foundations for Life.